Welcome to the third episode of Impact Unspoken. I'm the host Ritu Chhetri, and for this episode, we have Mr. Atul Rawat with us, who is an engineer and also the founder of Fusion Pact. So, without any further ado, let's just get on with the conversation.
Hello, Atul sir. It is really nice to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, Ritu. It's my pleasure.
Beginning with our conversation, let's know about your journey.
Did my schooling and college from Delhi, and after that, I was part of got an opportunity to work with the ITS industry. So I worked in the corporate world for around 25 years, spanning across multiple global organizations. And then I also spent time on startup as well. And then when I was kind of, working through the corporate organizations as well as a startup, I saw, a few trends, which were quite prominent. One is in the advancement that we see in the software engineering space, and second, what we see, the generative AI trend, and then we thought that why not combine, these two and integrate it with the domain to be able to provide the tangible solution. So that's how Fusion Pact started, which is wherein we are leveraging the fusion of emerging technologies to deliver the business and sustainable impact. So yeah, that's a short and sweet journey so far.
All right. So, what kind of education you took, like before getting into this corporate thing, IT thing?
Well, so did my regular, college engineering, and then after that, it was a straight to the ITS world, and that is where the most of the learning came, from, because what you get on the job, learning is far more kind of impactful. So the concept of Lean Six Sigma, so I did my black belt out there, and then multiple, exposure to different technology domains like blockchain and IoT and generative AI, etc. Those were the pieces that we did on the way, and then obviously more practical experience actually helped in terms of orchestrating the entire kind of a knowledge itself, right? So I would say education plus the practical experience and that I gained from the corporate and the startup industry is what made me what I am today.
How many years did you work as in corporate?
I leave the startup world, I think it was almost 22, 23 years. And then I spent on 3, 4 years now in the startup world, and kind of gained. One thing that I did was that it was not a job offer, right? I always believe in, the kind of in sticking to the organization, right? So I spent like, in my first organization, I spent like 6.5 years. In the second organization, I spent almost 15 years, which is a GEO, which subsequently became Genpact, and got exposure into different areas. And then the startup, I want to make sure that I kind of, work in the startup before I start up on my own. So there I spent around 3 to 4 years out there. So overall, 25 odd years, so to say, right?
So, what is the takeaway from like working in corporate? Like, what are the lessons?
See, when you work in the large corporate, right, obviously, things are more structured, right? You have got certain functions that you got responsibility for, be it operations, be it pre-sales or business development, or any other function, right? So you've got a very structured. So there's a different kind of learning when you look at the corporate world. So I was fortunate enough to kind of get an opportunity to work on different areas, and that really kind of helped in orchestrating the kind of learning and the knowledge that is required. And then after that, the startup was phenomenal, great learning out there, because in a startup world, you kind of do a lot of things, right? So I was managing a whole global operations, which had got your operations team, marketing team, legal team across the globe, right? So it was kind of tremendous experience across, working. So if you look at what kind of experience and the learning that you get, right? So obviously one is that you get to, why a certain process is important, how to run the process, right?
Yeah.
The second aspect is in terms of working through different functions, right? And while you are working across the functions, the people aspect is very important in terms of how you are actually making sure that you kind of working along with the teams and in a very collaborative way. So that was a great learning, right? In terms of kind of making sure that you're able to work across, because everyone kind of has got a different set of strengths. As a leader, then you have to be able to kind of figure it out that okay, how to optimize the ability to extract the right strength from anyone so that we are able to kind of deliver the right outcomes as a team.
Right. So, as we're talking about this whole leadership thing, so what is your advice to the young generation when it comes to like leadership when they're starting a business or any kind of startup?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think one thing. I mean, right now, obviously, because of the similar trend that I was talking about of product engineering and generative AI, etc. You're able to kind of deliver the outcomes faster,
Yeah.
right? However, I think one thing that I've seen is that there is this two school of thoughts, right? One is wherein we say that okay, fine, you just kind of get the business, start from bottoms up, and then you kind of take it up. The younger generation I've seen is more like okay, you build up the product and get the funding, and then you do it.
Yeah.
But again, we have seen kind of both pros and cons. So I would say that whatever we start off, I think important thing is to kind of have that niche is very important. So what do you want to do, right? Because I think while this sounds very easy, but what happens is that once you start getting into something, what you feel like a problem area,
Yeah.
that doesn't become a problem area actually. It's you when you try to peel the layer, then you figure it out. Oh, this is the problem area that that you should be able to solve for, right? So important thing is that how you get completely drench yourself into whatever problem that you're trying to solve for, right? And that's very important rather than looking at for different ways of kind of doing things. And once you do that, once you're able to kind of focus in a very concentrated way, then your ability to bring the tangible income becomes that much powerful out there. And then the other enabling factors, be it a tool, application, etc., whatever is needed, then you are able to kind of get that in, right? So important thing is that don't be wavering in terms of your thought process. Whatever you decide that okay, this is the idea that I want to kind of follow up with, and while it might look great, go deeper into it, and then you'll be able to kind of find something. So in quality, there is this tool called you should speak like say 5 times why. If you need to find the real kind of the solution, right? So you need to ask yourself 5 times why you want to do this particular solution, or you want to and then you'll be able to kind of get to the right answer to what you want to do. I think that's very, very important. So getting yourself entrenched into that kind of an exercise, make sure that you're able to kind of set yourself for the success, for the first solution. And then the other factors come into play in terms of if your idea is great, then obviously you'll be able to to generate funding, etc. But that piece is very important. So what exactly you're trying to solve for, right? So get that iron out first, completely threadbare manner. That's very important.
I have this question, like whenever you want to start a business, is it always important to have a lot of funds with a lot of capital so that we can invest in it and then only we can proceed with it?
Again, a good question. So absolutely, you need capital.
Yeah. I
for
guess that
everything,
depends, right? Depends upon the industry and everything. Or is it different?
See, what happens is that let's say if you have figured out one particular idea that okay, this is what it looks like. So obviously, then you kind of try to manifest it through your planning. Okay, for this, what do you need to do? And you figure it out. Okay, this much is your capex requirement, this is your opex requirement, and this is what you need to do, right? So you make those kind of planning. I think absolutely, it can be started off with lesser capital, but then you have to also then think through it, right? That you start small.
Yeah.
If let's say you want to deliver a particular solution, you take a part of it, a very small part of it, like a MVP, saying that okay, am I able to kind of deliver the solution, and am I able to generate the revenue, right? And once that is successful, then you obviously scale it up, right? And today, you have the ability to do it, right? So to answer your question, absolutely, you can start off this way. And in my way, I think that is a more kind of structured approach. While you can always, kind of go for a big bang idea or whatever is in the trend, and then say, okay, I'm going to now raise the funding. But that exercise is, again, very, very cumbersome. Go through a lot of phases. So I would say that if you have a great idea, zero it down. Start doing something which is you're able to kind of practically able to do it, even if it is makes with lesser resources. Don't need to take a complete office. You want to do it from your place, do it, right? Today you have the ability to hire the remote workforce as well. You can actually do that as well, right? So there are ways, right? So there are always ways to kind of get things done, right? In a resource constrained manner as well, and those kind of solutions. Fortunately, today are available, which were not there earlier. Right? Today, if you see internet cost, internet is available, right? The fraction of the cost, right? Remotely, you want to do whatever you want to do. You can actually most of the things you can do remotely, right? So I think you should not look out for big bang from the day one. I think you should start off small, and that's how you can then scale it up.
Yeah, right. If I'm starting a business, right, I think we need a lot of clarity in head, like what do we want to do and everything. But then I guess when we talk about the younger generation right now, like we have a lot of things going in our head, definitely. Like when we're 20 years old, like there's a lot of things going in head. Like how to keep that clarity.
I understand that the reason for this question is also because today you've got a lot of things happening.
Yeah.
So you've got a lot of choices, and then the question is that how you are able to kind of funnel it down from the right
Yeah.
choices, and then being able to kind of
Yeah.
zero it on the idea that you want to do it, and then taking it from there. But then once you do that, you figure it out. Oh, someone is doing that,
Exactly.
right? So look, I think first and foremost, I'm a big fan of having a strong processes and systems and everything, right? So I think we need to be very very simple. Like it has to be commonsensical thing, right? You don't need to be thinking about a very lofty ideas that this is what other person
Yeah.
is doing or other you should not think about it. You should see that okay, what is the problem? Number one, what is the problem that you're trying to solve for? And how you are associated with it. Do you want to associate with it because other person is associated, or some of your friend have done it, or is it something you're passionate about? If that is the thing, right, then you start funneling it down, right? Okay, then what you want to do it, right? And that is how you should be able to then narrow it down to exactly what you would like to do. But again, you have to follow that funnel down approach. Now, again, it is easier said than done. Why? Because as I said, today you've got multiple things happening. So once you start being funneling down, you will see that you might get distracted towards various aspects. That ye bhi kar lete hain. You can do that as well, right? And that is so. I think I would say that more than anything, more than clarity, I think it's also about how to avoid distractions as well.
Exactly.
Right? And then you narrow it down to that particular problem, and that is from there actually you should start thinking taking off. And then it might be a small thing, right? Maybe you've got a larger idea, which is your vision, and then from that vision you pick up one small thread, which is practicable, which is a low-hanging fruit, which you think that is is not very heavy on your pocket, and you can actually do it, and you can successfully establish some kind of a MVP. And if that is the case, that's how you will be able to kind of bring the client. And then once you're able to get successful, once you get that confidence, then obviously you can then look out for other ideas as well, right? Adani's or Reliance, they haven't really built in one day, right? I mean, that's how they started off, right? In terms of okay, this is what the core area, and then in the process they were able to figure it out that okay, now we can leverage from the solution that they delivered for handling some other problem, right? And that's how the skill happens.
Definitely, it's not like one day you wake up and you're like, बहुत ही बड़ा कर देंगे एक ही बार में. That's definitely not an.
देखो ideas सबके पास में रहते हैं.
Yeah.
Everyone has got the ideas. I mean, we have got everyone. You ask all the this large population that we have. Everyone would have multiple ideas. Execution plays an important role. And before execution, narrowing it down in terms of what do you want to do, that plays an important role. So structuring it out is very important. And then obviously but make it commonsensical. Just stay grounded. Don't just get distracted with the fancy stuff. Make it grounded. क्या problem solve करने के लिए आप you're going for, and that's how then you will see that you'll be able to kind of find the right ways to narrow it down to the right solution that you want to do.
I guess it's more like sticking to one idea and not moving from it and not giving up on that.
Yeah, not moving from it, but again going deeper into it, right? But what may happen is that you might realize that the idea that you might picked up is not exactly something is the solution for the same. But for example, I was speaking to another guy who was like, he said there's a problem with the farmers. Okay, the farmers not able to sell their produce. So he said, okay, I'll create a common marketplace, and then it will allow them to sell their produce. Right? Fantastic idea, right? But then when they started doing it, they realized that the actual problem is not there. It's not that. The actual problem was that when the produce is there, already there, the farmer is sitting with the produce, they don't get the right logistics on time so that they could take the produce to the marketplace, right? And so that changed the thinking. They said, okay, fine, now we need to work on the logistics part of it. How to kind of map the logistics to the farmer in a real-time basis. So he started off from the common marketplace. Maybe that could be the vision that might scale it up later on, but that is where then you are able to kind of narrow it down that okay, this is the problem area that you want to solve. That's one example that how to kind of look at narrowing down your idea and to be able to do things which actually really matters on the ground.
So whatever we are about to do, like whatever you want to do in life, I guess whether it's a business or something, you need to have a deeper knowledge about it to know like all the problems and to find out the solution.
I mean, you may not have deeper knowledge. That is fine, but it has to be simple one, right? That okay, this is how it is, and then you do more research on it, right? Today is an information age, right? I mean, you've got so many AI tools available, right? You can actually get to do more research. You don't need to ask anyone out there. So I'm saying funnel it down, right? In terms of whatever idea you have, get deeper into it, find out the area that you want to first target on, get success in that, and then you scale it up.
Right. So it's like simplifying things rather than complicating it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Fusion Pact now.
Okay. So, Fusion Pact, basically, as I was mentioning, right, we saw, that product engineering, owing to a lot of advancement in the computing space, is really gaining, momentum, right? And this I realized it, long back. And then obviously, as a result of which you see generative AI, is also picking it up. But, how to really get these technologies across the domain, right? So that you're able to bring in the tangible outcome across the domain, right? And with that kind of a context, Fusion Pact was born, wherein we said, okay, we're going to leverage fusion of emerging technologies to deliver the business and sustainable solutions, right? And that is what we have been doing. So one bucket we have got the complete niche, product software product engineering stuff that we do. Again, managing and solving problems across the domain. And on the other side, we have got the sustainable solution line of business, wherein we are using our platform Forest Twin to kind of deliver those sustainable solutions. That is broadly what we do in Fusion Pact.
Would you please brief it more about, like, tell us more about Forest Twin?
So Forest Twin, it started off. So I'm from Uttarakhand, okay?
Yeah.
And basically, what we saw is that we've got tremendous amount of natural resources. Be it even the waste, as what generally people call. I mean, for me, the way I look at it, they are the resources, right?
Yeah.
So where we started off was that we wanted to, so one is obviously the overall environmental problem that we all are facing today, okay, which is a global warming issue, okay. I mean, if you look at what was committed as part of the Paris Agreement by almost 200 plus signatories countries across the world, they wanted to bring the temperature within the range of 1.5 degree pre-industrial age, okay. But we have not been able to, succeed in that. I mean, and as a result of which, what we see is, absolute kind of different manifestations of nature, right? More floods, or more. There are droughts happening. There are wildfires happening, right? All these things are happening, right? And therefore, this one of the solutions that was envisaged was that, okay, because global warming obviously happens because you've got a lot of carbon emission happening, and as a result of which you've got the ozone layer which is getting deteriorated, right? So if there is a way to kind of minimize that or mitigate that, then you should do that, right? So one of the ways for doing that is the carbon credit mechanism, right? Which broadly speaking, have kind of taken shape, but there were a lot of issues within that, right? Wherein there were kind of projects on carbon emission undertaken, but then in reality there were issues around it. We saw what happened in Vietnam, right? There was like a lot of carbon credit that was generated, but then on reality, if you look at the kind of a year-on-year wildlife view, there was a complete deforestation happening, right?
Exactly.
So that is called greenwashing or a carbon washing issue, right? So we said, okay, we need to kind of solve for that, right? So that is how we, so that is one part of the forest twin. When we said that we're going to be able to bring in more transparency, we're going to get the compliance traceability into the entire value chain, right? From the time when you actually set up the project to the time when the the carbon credit is verified and monetized, we should get all the kind of traceability. So that is one part of what Forest Twin does. And within that, right, then we have got, we also realize that we also need to get deeper into it, right? So not only just, looking at providing the software solution, but also playing a role of a project developer as well, right? So we kind of collaborated with the forest department from one of the state, and we said, how we can actually, so there are instances of wildfire, right? And one of the major reasons of wildfire is pine needles, right? In that state. And therefore we said, okay, how we can convert that into something which is more useful, for the farmers. So we are converting pine needles into something called as wood vinegar and biochar, which actually helps in improving the agriability of the soil. And there's a technology involvement as well, because this is when we use the technology, it's kind of connected through the IoT devices with our Forest Twin platform as well, right? So Forest Twin as a role, basically as a platform, is about working on both sides. So right now we are focusing on the supply side, which is the carbon credit supply. And ensuring that we are able to have kind of a right amount of right kind of compliance traceability happening, the right involvement of technology happening to be able to deliver the outcomes, and then we'll be scaling it up to the demand side as well. We'll be allowing the industries and the companies to be able to kind of look at their own emissions as well, so that then we are able to kind of provide them the solution through the Forest Twin platform itself, right? So that's broadly what Forest Twin does. Yeah.
Well, that's amazing, because it has like sustainability as well as technology all together. It's making a really amazing combination out of it. idea of like taking the waste and converting into certain products like biochar and everything, and just putting it back to the environment to replenish the soil's fertility again. So I guess that's something.
Absolutely, absolutely. This particular state that you're working issue of wildfire,
Mm-hmm.
right? There is a job issue as well.
Yeah,
For
that's
both
right.
blue collar and the white collar job. Animal husbandry is missing absolutely, or,
Yes.
or I would say it's completely diminishing because of two reasons, right? One is the government is giving more incentive to people
Mm-hmm.
now, so they hardly have any incentive to go and plow their fields now.
That's right.
And the second aspect is that now the fields have been those agricultural fields have been left for so much of time that now the wild animals have got complete acquisition of those fields. So you see boars, you see the monkeys kind of attacking it. So all this being kind of eliminated through this product that we are creating again through the waste itself.
So let's do a rapid fire round. So you need to be quick with your answers. I
Oh,
hope that's
okay.
fine.
Well, that's gonna be fun. Okay.
First question is, if you had to explain your about your company
Mhm.
to our audience who are not aware of this particular industry that much, so in few sentences, how would you do that?
Leveraging emerging tech to deliver business and sustainable solutions.
All right. What's a tech trend everyone is excited about, but you think it's overhyped?
Well, I would say AI. I mean, we use AI as an agricultural intelligence. So yeah, that is one thing.
If you could collaborate with any global brand for sustainability initiative, who would it be?
So NVIDIA is obviously one, and then obviously we'll love to associate with Microsoft and Google as well in terms of helping in terms of mitigating their emissions.
Right. All right. Next, what's the craziest idea you have had for Fusion Pact, but it didn't make the cut?
Craziest idea, but it didn't make the cut. Well, initially, like every founder, kind of dreams of okay that you're gonna have a great plan and everything, and then you're gonna raise so much, right? Etc. So that was the plan that we had initially, which obviously didn't, take off. So then we were, we got into the ground reality, and then we started kind of working on those things. So that is one thing.
If you could instantly solve one sustainability challenge in the world today, what would it be?
One sustainability challenge. So I think one thing obviously is the wildfire challenge. If you look at it, everywhere in the world actually there's a lot of wildfire happening, and we would definitely want to kind of solve for it by ensuring that whatever the key forestry biomass waste actually causing that, how to convert that into something which is more useful for the end user, like especially for converting that into biochar or the wood vinegar, etc. That is something which you definitely want to do, and this will absolutely will help in terms of mitigating the the carbon emissions a lot, and help in kind of mitigating the global warming issues as well.
Any kind of book that you would like to suggest our books?
I think one book that I really like about is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I think one must actually go through it, read it, because that kind of really gives you a kind of value system that you need actually to take on the journey. So that is one definitely I would like to read.
It was great talking to you, sir. Thank you
Same
very
here.
much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on the show. It was great to be part of it on this discussion. Thanks, Ritu.
Thank you very much, sir, for joining us today.
The conversation that I had with Atul sir was basically a perfect mix of knowledge, humor, and insights. I mean, every startup founder, like who is just getting started with their ideas or something, they must know about what things sir has told in this conversation. I am in total love with this conversation, and I would love to have another such conversation with sir. I hope you guys like this video, like the content that I'm delivering over here, and thank you very much for watching this video till the end. If you like it, do subscribe my channel and also share it with your friends, and I would love to know your thoughts in the comment section. Anyways, thank you very much once again, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.